Hi there guys and girls, this is aka Marley and I'm doing a different kind of live stream today. I'm going to talk about mental health because I've been through mental health. My blue screen behind me isn't very good, so I apologise. Basically, 3 years ago I suffered with my first episode of Psychosis, and that's what I'm basically going to be talking about on here. If you join me, then feel free to comment in the chat. And yeah, let's just have an open discussion about mental health, really. So I've got my notes here from my cognitive behavioural therapy. As you can see, it's very thick. Lots of stuff in there. So I'm going to be talking about some of that. So some of the tips and stuff in there might help people out there. So yeah, basically I suffered with my first episode of Psychosis back in 2017. It was July, I believe. And then 2 months later, I'm then admitted to this early intervention psychosis team, which I was designated a care coordinator. And he's been with me since, really. It's a 3-year program to basically get yourself back on your feet from the very start of psychosis to getting better, feeling better and recovering, etc. Also with the program, Charlton Athletic Football Club, they support the program as well. And sometimes every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, I go on an activity day, and they've helped me massively. So I can't really say how well they do for mental health people in the early intervention psychosis. So basically, the reason why I got psychosis in the first place is because of stress. Basically, I had a lot of stress. Firstly, I had post-traumatic stress disorder, which I didn't realize I had. I had anxiety, I had depression, and probably a little bit of paranoia, but that wasn't really diagnosed a lot. But those 3 things was diagnosed. And basically, post-traumatic stress disorder come from when I was watching a air show back in 2015. You probably see it on the news in the UK. It was the Hawk Hunter crash, and it killed 11 people. And I was right at the front of the crowd line as it come down and crashed. So I witnessed that, and that gave me post-traumatic stress disorder, unfortunately. And I don't think I was the only person that got that. There was quite a few people that were struggling with it. And it was quite a bad crash. So I got post-traumatic stress from that. Anxiety, that just happened to be forming with everything else, with depression as well. Long story short, I was being harassed for money, and that was really causing a lot of stress on me. Unfortunately, I had relationship problems, and yeah, there was many things that was causing a lot of stress. At the time, I was a driving instructor here in the UK, and that job's quite a stressful job alone. And just all of that combined just made my mind just go. And that's why I ended up getting psychosis, really. So yeah, so basically I'm just here to talk about my journey and get people talking about theirs, and if they feel open to it, pop stuff on the chat as well. So I'm basically going to go through my cognitive behavioural therapy notes. So as you can see, I've got loads of them. I'm probably going to do this live stream for about an hour and a half, maybe, if I can talk that long. Usually it's a bit easier on the PlayStation because I'm doing something, but this time it's a bit harder. So those who haven't had CBT therapy, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, it's a lot about, like, I was basically having it for anxiety and depression and post-traumatic stress disorder as well. So basically CBT is present focused, so it makes you come into the present moment, and it's quite a lot of mindfulness going on with it as well. I learned a lot of mindfulness and spirituality through it. So basically it makes you realize what you think and do affects the way you feel. So for instance, with anxiety, if it's become like overwhelming, it starts to spiral out of control with your thoughts. So you'll think of one thing and then another thing and then another thing, and it will just keep going and going, and it will just spiral out of control. And that's what this is basically saying at the bottom here. Don't know if you can see that. Camera's back to front, so that doesn't really help. But yeah, so basically you start thinking of thoughts like, I'm useless, nobody likes me, and then you feel sad, demotivated, tired and lethargic, and then you retreat to like your safe space. So my safe space was my bedroom, and literally these four walls was my safe space. Even walking downstairs sometimes aggravated my anxiety and stuff like that. So a few good things then start to happen, but then something triggers your thoughts again, and then you spiral out of control again. So that's what CBT really does for you. It helps you get out of that spiral and prevent it from going into a spiral, really. So if you're having anxiety and you're really overwhelmed with it, CBT will help you. I had a really good therapist, so maybe you'll get a therapist that you've not really experienced, that it's been a good experience for you with them, and it might just be that you just haven't clicked with them. So maybe try and find another therapist if you can. But my therapist was really good. They literally said to me, it's 10% sessions with her and 90% homework. That's why I've got like all of this. So yeah, I'm basically just going through that now. I can see someone's joined the live stream. So if you're here and you suffer from mental health, then feel free to talk in the chat. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. And we'll just be open with things. So I'm talking about my experience with mental health because I suffered from psychosis 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago, sorry. 2017 in July. So I'm just talking about that at the moment. And we got another viewer as well. So hello, everyone. So another thing anxiety does, it doesn't just like spiral your thoughts out of control. It gives you mixed emotions as well. And you kind of feel a lot of emotions going through anxiety. Bodily sensations. So bodily sensations is like tension in the chest, you can't breathe, etc. And you go all into that sort of state. And then sometimes you have behaviours that you didn't realise are actually coping strategies that you've already developed. But sometimes the behaviours could be like you're hiding in the room and you hide away, and it just goes into that spiral. and stuff. So the best thing to do is to obviously get CBT. I've actually put a link in the description for Mind UK. So if you feel like you're suffering and you need some advice, there's the link down in the description, and you can click on that. It's basically the Mind charity, and they're quite good if you've if you've not seeked any advice or anything like that. So back to CBT. The way to get out of your spiral of thinking is by literally bringing yourself into the present moment. So, say for instance, I get a thought and it's a negative thought, and then you start getting a panic attack, and my phone's going. I don't know who that is, so let's not answer that. So yeah, you get a panic attack and you don't know what to do in a panic attack. You start thinking, oh my God, I can't breathe, etc., etc. The best way to deal with it, I've found, is to try and bring yourself into the present moment. So my therapist said something like, imagine refocusing and telling yourself, actually, I can breathe. It's just my thoughts telling me I can't breathe. So you start going into a nice breathing technique. So you go in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then you just continue doing that. And as you're doing it, imagine blowing up a balloon, a red balloon. And that helped me a lot. Just getting your mind on something else, focusing on something else, which is quite good. So yeah, you don't really want to be suffering too much from anxiety and everything like that. So make sure you get the right help. So this page that I've got here, there's a lot of writing on it from my sessions. And basically my therapist gave me a session worksheet, which gave me the idea that I learned something from the session. So it says, what did we talk about in the session and what was important? So this was my first session. As you can see, I've numbered it. So number 1, my first session. And I talked about my traumatizing events. I learned that CBT is about the present moment, which is pretty spot on, really. That's exactly what I've got from CBT. And actually revisiting my notes now, it's actually helping me now, really. So I've put here, what was your week like? This week has been a mixture of highs and lows in terms of moods and feelings, which anxiety can do to you. Especially relating to having to be in court. So I went to court as well because of the harassment that I was getting for money. I was taken to court and I had to deal with a lot of stress in whilst actually dealing with psychosis. So yeah, that wasn't too great. So that's what that was about. And I've put it left marks on me where I was seated and felt vulnerable. So when you have mental health, it is really hard to deal with things that people may find in their everyday lives, that they do deal with things. So for me, for instance, I was like feeling vulnerable and scared in the court, which you do. And unfortunately, I broke down in court, and it just weren't a pleasant experience, basically. Let's put it that way. And what my mind was doing in the unwell days, was going over like a video on repeat with the air show crash. So just picture this plane going down and then repeating and then going down again and down again and down again. And that would just stress me out. And it literally was like a video on repeat, like a 3-second video just repeating itself. And yeah, it really stressed me out, and that's what I was getting the CBT for. So that's what I basically wrote in these notes, that I was getting a lot of traumatic events relived, basically. And yeah, it wasn't great. That also knocked my confidence as well. My confidence really fell. I'm still working on my confidence, actually. It may seem that I'm quite confident with this live stream and talking and stuff, but yeah, it's been really hard getting my confidence back up. And if people who knew me was watching this video, they'll probably be like, oh my god, I've never seen Marley talk so much. But yeah, it's something I'm still working on with the confidence and stuff. So what else have I wrote here? What problems do you want to put on the agenda? I've put dealing with traumatic events, so that would be the airshow crash, etc. Helping with confidence, especially when experiencing flashbacks. Encouraging a better self-esteem. Yeah, so basically what I was saying just now. What have I wrote on the back here? So I've got some SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time focused. So what was my goals? So I've finished CBT now. It only lasted like 6 months or something like that. Some people need it longer, some people need it shorter. It all depends, really. So specific, I've put better self-esteem and confidence to be able to cope on my own and going out and standing on my own 2 feet. I'm getting there. Certainly getting there. I'm still find it hard to deal with social situations and stuff like that. So I've just noticed we've got some more viewers. Basically, I'm talking about cognitive behavioural therapy in my experience. So I'm just talking about the goals that I had, but I've finished it now. I finished my CBT. So measurable, what have I put this? Going out for walks, going gym by myself. So I'm not a member of a gym anymore, but I have been going for walks and stuff. And I've been going to the activities that Charlton put on for the mental health group as well. So that's pretty good. Achievable, going to a walking gym at least twice a week. Yeah, I probably go for a walk about 3 times a week now. So that's something that I've obviously achieved. Time focus, go for a 10-minute walk. Literally, I go for a 10-minute walk now. So all of them goals that are listed here have all been met, really. I've just got to keep them up and keep going, really. That's all you can do with CBT. Sometimes you're going to have days where you're like, you having a little knockback and you're back to square one, which it does happen, but you just got to pick yourself up the next day in your own time and not put so much pressure on yourself. So the next sheet is about adrenaline. So this is basically talking about your anxiety attacks and why we get them. So anxiety attacks basically go way back to like when we were like cavemen and cavewomen, and we had the fight or flight system put in our body, and it was basically to do with a threat. If we had a threat, we would either run or fight the threat, and that's what the adrenaline does. And we still get them today. And when we have anxiety, when it's out of control, and we have these panic attacks, that's what it's basically doing. It's your body's fight or flight system. So it's got here, when the brain perceives a threat, it activates the body's fight or flight alarm system, and the adrenaline is released into the blood from the adrenal glands. We experience uncomfortable feelings because the adrenaline makes the body system speed up, diverting towards the big muscles, preparing us to attack, anger, or escape, anxiety. So I haven't really experienced anger, to be honest. So I've never really experienced anger in my mental health, but some people do, some people don't. So it all depends on the person, really. So it's got here, you feel that your brain is hijacked, which thoughts race, which makes it hard to think clearly and rationally. Feelings of being unreal or detached, which is 100% true. That's what I felt. Felt like you just couldn't think straight, etc. Eyes widen, allows more light in and improves or blurs vision. Yeah, I got a bit of blurred vision. I wear contacts anyway, but I have perfect vision with my contact lenses in. But when you have a panic attack, my eyes do go a bit blurry. I must admit that's true as well. Mouth dries up. Yep. This is caused by a narrowing of the blood vessels. Body heats and sweats. Yeah, I've got that as well. So it's really discomforting having a panic attack. Really discomforting, and also I feel like I'm just going to die there and then. And my friend is experiencing some panic attacks, and she said the same thing. She feels like she's just going to die, where her chest feels tight. She feels like she's having a heart attack, etc. And yeah, it's just uncomfortable. It's not very nice to have a panic attack. Muscles tensed up, etc. Your bladder can release as well. But yeah, let's not talk about too much about panic attacks. I don't want to set people off. But that's what it is. That's what basically a panic attack is. And I did have them, and sometimes I still have them. Especially recently, I've been experiencing them. But they've calmed down a bit now, where I've been using my CBT techniques. So we've got another viewer. Hi there. I'm just going through my CBT therapy, so it might help some people. So won't talk about that page. That's a bit complex, as you can see. That there's loads to it, so I won't talk about that page. So I'll talk a little bit about psychosis, because a lot of people don't know what psychosis is. Now, psychosis is when you become very distant with reality, and you start hallucinating, you start seeing things, and you start hearing voices as well. So that's what basically, in short, what psychosis is. And you start believing like you've got superpowers, or you're like something to do with God, like you've seen Jesus, or things like that. It can be quite comical, to be fair, but at the same time, at the time it's happening, it's not very comical at all. But afterwards, I was laughing quite a lot. So that doesn't really say much about psychosis in this. Oh, it does. It says, what is psychosis? So this is Epic Minds definition of psychosis. Psychosis is a mental health condition that may mean you see the world around you in a distorted way. So, like I said, you get voices and hallucinations. Psychosis can cause you to lose contact with reality, and during your period of illness, you may perceive things differently from people around you. So, yeah, that's basically just saying people around you don't really hear voices. You do. You really do see the world differently through your eyes when you go through psychosis. It's really weird. But I think we need to be educated on psychosis a bit more, because I didn't realise how many people it affected. It affects like 1 in 3% of the population. 1 to 3% of the population, sorry. And I've met a lot of people that have experienced psychosis, and it's quite scary when you feel like you've just lost your mind. And a lot of people get admitted to a hospital, and it's not very nice, really. You get sectioned and put in a mental hospital, and yeah, it's not very nice. But I wasn't sectioned, thankfully. My mum and dad actually begged the psychiatrist to basically let me go home as long as I took my medication. And if I can reach it, there we go. This medication I'm on now is aripiprazole. It's back to front. I don't know why I keep showing you, but it is back to front on the camera. But aripiprazole, 10 milligram tablets. I can't remember what I was taking originally. I know it was olanzapine, but it was something like 25 milligrams or something like that. Maybe. It depends on the person, really. Some people are taking 150 milligram tablets, which really knocks you out. But yeah, aripiprazole apparently is better. It doesn't make you feel so hungry, whereas olanzapine, it makes you feel really hungry, and even though you've eaten, you even more feel hungry, and you want to eat more and more, and it just goes on and on. Whereas aripiprazole doesn't do that, so, which is good, because I've been trying to lose weight, so I put on so much weight on olanzapine. I just wanted to eat everything I see. Even when I'd eaten and should have been on a full stomach, I was just eating more. So these tablets are antipsychotic tablets, but this is a really, really low dose. This is equivalent to 5 milligrams of 5 milligrams of olanzapine. So that's what I take anyway each day. Another drug that I take for anxiety, which is really good, and I don't think you need a prescription for this, is promethazine. Promethazine is a blue tablet. I don't know if you can see. It's a blue tablet, and you can chop them in half, these ones as well. These are quite good. It's a 25 milligram tablet that I've got. Sometimes you can take up to 4. Well, I can take up to 4. I don't know other people, but yeah, I can take up to 4, and this is basically to help my anxiety. So if I have a panic attack, I can take one of these and it calms me down. So it's really good. But I don't have them really a lot now. It's only as and when I need them. And yeah, that's really what the medication I take. The olanzapine, I don't think I've got any here. Oh, maybe I have. Yep. Olanzapine, there we go. So that says 5 milligrams. So that was after a little while on my mental health journey. I think this was after about 2 years that I'd had my first episode of psychosis. I went down to 5 milligrams. So actually, I think aripiprazole antipsychotic drug is actually 2.5 milligrams of equivalent to olanzapine, but I don't like olanzapine. It's horrible. It's a horrible drug. I don't like it. Just put that back if I can. There we go. So how long have we been? Half an hour. That's not bad considering I don't talk a lot. So what else have we got here? There's one thing that really helps me with anxieties, and that is what fear stands for, FEAR. And my therapist liked this as well, and she said it was a really good way of sort of helping anxiety. So fear, I've said, stands for false evidence appearing real, which is basically what fear and anxiety do to you. So when I've had anxiety attacks and I've had thoughts and things like that, I get things like, say for instance, I have panic attack and I can't breathe, and I start thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I can't breathe. I start saying to myself, right, bring yourself into the present moment, and is it a fact that I am gonna die, or is it just an opinion? And that technique actually helped me go on the zip wire with the Charlton group. But there's actually a video on YouTube on my channel somewhere of me doing the zip wire over the Eden Project, and it's really high up and you're actually hanging face down, you're going along like this, and I was actually getting a lot of anxiety before I went on that, and this technique actually helped me go on it. And it was basically weighing up, is it a fact or an opinion, my thoughts, and that really worked. It was really good. So basically what I was thinking was, oh my god, I'm going to fall off this harness that I'm strapped to and really hurt myself or be killed or something like that, thinking really worst case scenario. And then I was like, hang on a second, what are the facts of this? I'm strapped in, I'm safe. Has anyone been injured before? No. Have you got instructors to help you? Yes. Do you know the safety protocols of going on here? Yes. So you just weigh everything up and you basically back yourself up with facts. And that really helped me get onto that zip wire down in Cornwall. So things like that definitely use. So that's what this is basically, fact and opinion. But again, it's back to front, so you can't really see it that well. So that is cognitive behavioural therapy. I don't think there's much more I can really talk about on cognitive behavioural therapy unless you want to know more. Let me just put this back. Ooh, it's all falling out. So a lot of people who watch my live streams probably don't realise that I suffer with mental health, and it isn't really something you really bring up. So that's why I thought I'd do a live stream and make like awareness for it. Which is something I thought would be quite handy for some people. So if you're watching, feel free to comment. So I'll probably go quiet for a little bit now. So if you're watching this when I'm not live, you might want to scoot along a little bit, but there's not really much else I can talk about unless people ask me questions. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the live stream so far. So a lot of you people know me from doing gaming videos and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of my subscribers have come from the money cheat for The Sims 4. So that's where you probably know me from. Let's see what the NHS says about psychosis. So it says, psychosis is a mental health problem that causes people to perceive or interpret things differently from those around them. This might involve hallucinations or delusions. Symptoms of psychosis: hallucination, where a person hears, sees, and in some cases feels, smells, or tastes things that do not exist out of their mind but can feel very real to the person affected by them. Common hallucination is hearing voices. When it talks about smells and tastes and things like that, I love fish. Fish is like my one of my favorite foods, and when I was falling ill with psychosis, I actually went off fish. It was a fresh fillet of fish from the fishmonger at a supermarket, Sainsbury's, and it was a lovely piece of fillet of fish. I think it was sea bass, and I usually love that. And for some reason, it just seemed like it was oozing with like grease and things like that, and that was me hallucinating at the time. And the taste of it didn't really taste fish at all. It just tasted like sludge and gunge, and it was really weird, really, really weird. And it took me a while to get back into fish as well, but now I eat fish again, so that's a good thing. So that's what that just reminded me of. It's got delusions, where a person has strong beliefs that are not shared by others. A common delusion is believing that something a conspiracy to harm them. Yeah, I thought World War III was happening, and I thought everyone was like a secret agent to a secret agency, and the Nazi had come back in a different form of person and was like disguising themselves as people. And I thought that everyone out was to get you, and it was pretty scary. And but some people might find it quite funny, these stories. So doesn't bother me if you find it funny. So I sometimes laugh at what I said and done and thought and everything like that. But what it says about strong beliefs, I thought that I was like a chosen one from God, and I thought it was like I was really, really special in that sense. and yeah, it was really weird. It felt like I had like superpowers and things like that, and yeah, it was weird, really weird. See what else it says. Yeah, it's got a treating psychosis, cognitive behavioural therapy, which is what I had, antipsychotic medicine, which is what I'm still on. Hopefully, I won't be on it much longer, so I don't really feel like I need it a lot. Social support, that's what I get as well, with my care coordinator. Actually, there's psychosis can be caused from a high dosage of marijuana, of weed. If you've taken a really strong dose of that, it can cause psychosis. Let's just have a quick look. So you can find out more information on this on www.childmind.org, and it's got on here marijuana and psychosis. Those studies show a link between heavy pot use and the onset of schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is like another mental health thing you can get. And actually, I think one of my friends within the mental health group has got schizophrenia. And she said, like, it's a scary word. She didn't really understand it. And all this terminology is a bit scary. Like, psychosis is scary. Like, when you're told you've got psychosis and things like that, it's scary words, really. I think they need to rephrase some of the words for the people who are actually going through mental health, because I found that the words were really scary when I was going through it, and it made me more stressed out. So maybe there could be like another language to form. Like, try and be more positive with psychosis and things like that. Oh, oh dear me. Don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not really that tired. That's another thing. I slept so much when I had psychosis. I don't really get the symptoms now. I may have an off day where I get one, like once every 3 months or something like that. But yeah, I slept a hell of a lot when I had psychosis in the early days. And actually, when I had psychosis to start with, I had, I think, well, I fell asleep at like 7 o'clock in the evening. No, I didn't. It was 7 o'clock in the evening the next day I woke up, but I fell asleep at, must have been 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon that I fell asleep, and I woke up the next day at 7 o'clock. So I had a lot of sleep that I missed out on, and sleep, not getting enough sleep can trigger psychosis as well. Like, for a whole week I was on, like, I think I had about 7 hours sleep in a week, so that's an hour a night. Not very good. And that added to it as well. So yeah, you can literally, if you have a heavy dose of marijuana, that can trigger your first episode of psychosis, and especially schizophrenia. So, I mean, I've never done drugs. Never in my life have I done drugs, but that's something to be wary of, that it can cause psychosis. So yeah, there's not really much else. Let's see what Google says about psychosis. Psychosis. So Google says psychosis is an umbrella term. It means an individual has sensory experiences of things that do not exist or beliefs with no basis in reality. During a psychotic episode, an individual may experience hallucinations or delusions. They may see or hear things that do not exist. So, something that did just come back to me is sensory experiences of things that do not exist. So, basically, another terminology for psychosis is not having a break from reality, and that is literally psychosis all over. So yeah, it is really scary. I know I keep saying that, but it really is scary to experience. You feel very isolated. Here we go. It's got, what is psychotic behaviour? Psychotic disorder are severe mental disorders that cause abnormal thinking and perceptions. People with psychosis lose touch with reality, like I just said. Two of the main symptoms are delusions and hallucinations. So, yeah. Yeah, there's not really much else to talk about. If you're watching, make a comment below, even when this isn't live, and I'll respond back to you. But the whole idea was this live stream was to create awareness for mental health in general, and especially psychosis. So, yeah, I'll leave this on for an hour, so another 12 minutes or so, just in case anyone comes on. But if you've liked this video so far, please like and subscribe as well to my channel, and maybe I'll do another one of these if you want me to do another live stream. So we have got one person watching, so if you want to ask any questions, feel free to. Maybe you're going through something as well, that maybe knowing that you're not the only one going through it might help as well. But yeah. If you need help, remember there's the link down in the description. Mine's Charity UK. But if you do need urgent help with mental health and you feel like you're on the verge of just breaking down, then remember to call 111, which is the NHS number for the UK, and also Samaritans as well. If you Google Samaritans, they can help you as well. But yeah, I'll just leave this running for another 10 minutes, just in case someone comes along. So I might go quiet again here because I've done a lot of talking. And other things I was doing, actually, I probably won't go quiet. Another thing I was doing was posting on social media. So if I bring up some of the posts that I've done when I was unwell, I've done a lot of quotes, a lot of positive quotes. And I found that really helped to keep me going. There was one that especially helped me was Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep on going. So here's a quote. Never regret being a good person to the wrong people. Your behaviour says everything about you, and their beliefs and their behaviour says enough about them. So that was one post. That was my relapse, though. I had a relapse this time last year. I come off my medication, and unfortunately, we had some bad news within the family with my brother losing his little baby, my brother and sister-in-law. So there was a lot of morbid things going on, really, and the stress of it was just kind of a bit too much for me, and I'd just come off my medication, so I had a relapse. Another thing I just remembered as well when I wasn't very well, just got to move my legs because they are so stiff. Oh. That's better. Yeah, another thing was I went for a run the next day that I was diagnosed with psychosis, and I was like just running, and I felt my leg like ping and start hurting, and even though it was hurting, I kept running, and I felt like if I had a broken leg, I still would have kept running, and that's what like your mental health does to you. I was just like so determined to run, and nothing was going to stop me. If I had my leg like blown off or something like that, I would have kept running. It was really weird. But I was telling a lot of people they needed re-educating as well, because they didn't know that. I was saying to them they didn't know that they was talking about with saying that there was something wrong. I'm just trying to find the posts. I actually told the doctor that she needs to go back to university as well. I did a lot of photography. It's one of my photos. So that's a flower and a butterfly. And it looks like a little parrot. But yeah, I've done a lot of photography. That really helped me a lot. I like this photo. That's quite cool. Don't know if you can see it that well. It's better. So here's another fear thing that I had. So that says face everything and rise. Here we go. If you're going through hell, keep going. That was one of my quotes that really stuck out to me. I posted this as well. Eye of the tiger. So just random stuff that I was posting. What's this? This is a Arnold Schwarzenegger quote, the 6 rules. I don't know if you've heard of this before, but if you search Arnold Schwarzenegger and his 6 rules to being successful, this is quite good. It's got 1, trust yourself, 2, break some rules, 3, don't be afraid to fail, 4, ignore the naysayers, 5, work like hell, 6, give something back. And that really helped me as well. So all these quotes just really, really helped me. Another thing I was doing was writing a blog nearly every day. And that's on Tumblr. And my blog is Swimming Glitter Llama. I'll write it in the chat. So it's Swimming Glitter Llama dash blog. So this was the blog. Blog each day. I was writing a blog each day whilst going through psychosis. So you can see that my thought process was really weird. It didn't make sense at all. I'd like skip. It's like if you see a car misfiring and it just goes. That's like what my mind was doing, my brain. Yeah. There's one photo. That's when I went for the run. And I've put totally focused and driven on where I need to go and be for once in my life. I've found more within myself. And yeah, it's just said some really weird things. A lot of things just didn't make sense. But yeah, I've done a lot of photography, and mindfulness really helps. I found that I've become very spiritual as well. Just quickly, there was a experience in the car when before I've come unwell, and I was due to take somebody for a driving lesson, and the A2, the local motorway near me, was all blocked up because of there being a car fire. So I couldn't get to them, and I pulled over and told them that I couldn't get to them and maybe I could do the lesson a bit later that day. So I had like some cancellations. And then I just drove, and I just remember feeling so down that I just didn't know what I could possibly do. And in some ways, some people would say that I wanted to just end my life, and I didn't, obviously, but I couldn't do it anyway. I couldn't ever end my life, but yeah, I just kept driving and driving and driving, and then I come across this little country lane that had a little lay-by, and I stopped there. And after a little while, things started happening around me. It was really weird. Things stopped around me. I was still awake. I hadn't fainted or anything, and I felt like things started sparkling around me, like energies and things like that. And then all of a sudden, in the back of the car, I felt like a presence, like a spirit or something like that. And as I was sitting there, they reached forward and it felt like they just touched me on the shoulder and had quite a firm grip and went, you're going to get through this. It's going to be hard, but you're going to get through this. And it didn't sound like they said it like I just said it. Said it like, I don't know, like through an action or something like that. It was just really hard to explain. But yeah, they touched me on the shoulder, and then everything started coming back again. Like, I couldn't hear the wind, I couldn't feel the breeze on me. I had the window down. Everything around me, like reality, just stopped completely around me. And then after they started fading away, I started to feel the winds again. I started to hear the birds. I felt the breeze. And then I just burst into tears because this amazing thing just happened to me. I was like, oh my God, like I've just witnessed like a spirit in my presence. And it was like the safest feeling that I've ever felt in my life. And I felt so at peace. It was really nice. And all of a sudden I was like, oh God, I hope nobody like finds me like this. And then all of a sudden this guy pulls up next to me and like reverses a little bit, and I'm in tears, and he goes, "You all right, love?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I'm in tears, and he goes, "You don't look all right." And anyway, he stayed with me until everything was unfolded with my family, and like he found me at the side of the road, and he was like, "I wouldn't want my daughter to be at the side of the road, and I'd like to think a stranger would help out." And so he called my mum and dad, and they come down, and yeah, it kind of went from there. So yeah, that's my experience with psychosis, but that was literally before I fell unwell. So how to say really if that was an experience that was actually real or whether I was hallucinating. Anyway, that's an hour done. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it. Please subscribe for more. If you want to see more videos like this, then please comment, and I'll do another video like this. But I hope this was quite informative. I hope you found it useful. But yeah, just remember to subscribe, and I'll do some more videos for you. Thanks for watching, guys.